All right, guys, welcome back. 1776 or bust. On the table, you see kind of the part two of this wonderful handgun. This is the after range review. Now, I have to tell you, there have been a lot of guns that I've shot on this channel, a tremendous amount. There have been lots of Glocks, lots of CZs, Walthers, Smith & Wessons, just about anything and everything that has come out in striker form in the past 5 years I have shot. H&Ks, you name it. And I have to say, of all the guns that I have shot, this one was the one I was most skeptical on. I mean, there's a lot of things about this handgun that a lot of people are saying it's so good, it's this, it's that. I initially had put one on reservation, paid for it in full, then eventually asked for my money back. And waited a couple of years, now it's here. And I'm going to tell you right at the beginning of this, I guess, post-review, if you are on the edge, if you are kind of looking at this gun, but you're not sure if you want to buy this gun, I'm going to tell you right now, go and burn your money on this gun. This gun is pretty damn awesome. Now, is it a perfect gun? Not really. Do I think that this is the best 9mm in modern day right now as a striker fired pistol? I may go on the record in saying I think it is. I actually think this is the best 9mm striker fired pistol on the market today. The biggest issue of this handgun is going to be whether or not you want to pay the extra money to buy this gun. This is not a cheap gun. This is one of those kind of expensive guns. I know that some people are commenting that it's kind of a niche kind of gun, and maybe it is. Maybe it is. What's going to be the future of Archon? Who knows? Who knows if they're going to go belly up? Who knows if they're going to expand their line into producing more products? I don't know. What I can tell you though is that yes, this might be a gimmicky type of gun or whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, it performed amazingly. Now, the reason why I say it's not a perfect gun is because there were a couple of things, two things, and only two things about this gun that kind of were, questionable. Now, questionable, not necessarily in a bad way, but definitely something that I thought about as I was shooting it. And now that I've had an opportunity to put 250 rounds through this thing, which ain't much, but unfortunately my ammo supply is running short. And kind of screwed in that regards, because I have to limit what I'm shooting in order to make sure I have enough for other things. Unless any of you know any sponsors out there who want to give me some free ammo, that'd be great. Put that on the side. So overall, this gun performed flawlessly. 250, no issues, no failures, nothing. The two issues that I did find about this handgun, and I'm going to say it's probably one of the more obvious ones, is the heat. The transference of heat on this gun is pretty good. Now, what I mean by that is that you definitely start to feel it heat up after probably 60 rounds. Now, in all likelihood, how many people are going to be in a situation where they have to dump 60 rounds? Again, I don't know. Maybe you guys live in the most dangerous parts of the world, and that's going to be you on a daily basis. But most people will never do that. Most people will carry this. Most people will shoot it. And the most ammo that goes through it is when you're at the range, pumping about 200, 300, maybe even 500 rounds through it. But you definitely felt the heat transference. I didn't necessarily feel it on the trigger, which I was a little bit surprised. My buddy Chaos, or K9, he was telling me that he did feel it in the trigger. I did not get that sensation. It did not get hot to me. I've actually felt triggers hotter on the SIG P320 than on this particular firearm. What I will say is that I did feel the heat transference in the actual lower portion right around this area here, which is kind of interesting because that's, I believe, where the block is on here. I'm not sure. Let me see. Let me pull that back. It's not. It's actually a little bit further back here. But one of the things I noticed is that I definitely felt the transference of heat. Now, I don't know if it's because of this little pin getting hot and then kind of the plastic around it absorbing it, or if it's because of that kind of that chassis system they have in here that allowed that heat to generate, and you can definitely feel it. Now, is it an uncomfortable feeling? I mean, was it blazing hot where it was burning my hand? Not really, but at the same time, it was definitely noticeable. So that was something that I did notice. Is it good or bad? It may be good, it might be bad. I don't know. It might be good on a cold day when you shoot 100 rounds and you put it in your pocket. I don't know. But for me, it wasn't a huge deal, but definitely something noticeable. The second thing about this gun, which is kind of interesting, and I'm going to actually reach out to Archon and ask him what the deal was with it, was out of 250 rounds, I literally had 5 rounds hit me square in the face, and 4 of them actually went down the front of my glasses, and it burned my cheekbone, or my cheek. So it was kind of interesting. That didn't give me like a second or third degree burn, but it was hot enough for me to put the gun down right away, take my glasses off, and get that spent cartridge out of my face. But it happened 5 times and only 5 times. So I'm not sure if that is a common occurrence with these firearms. I mean, if you guys know, let me know. But it is definitely something I'm going to reach out to them about and kind of figure out if it's me or if it's the gun or whatever it was. Is it something that's extremely concerning? Not really. It may be just needing a deeper cleaning, maybe some oil in there. Who knows? But at the same time, this is what I found. And those are literally the only 2 concerns I had with this firearm. And neither one of them is really that much of a concern at all. Now, let's talk about this little thing back here. Again, this is the thing that supposedly gives you superhuman strength to be able to hold your handgun really tight. A little bummed out because I did not get superpowers with this, so that kind of sucked. But at the same time, did I really notice any difference in being able to hold and maintain the gun? Not really. I don't really think this does much of anything. It didn't hurt my hand or anything, but it certainly didn't add anything to my grip. One of the things I would say overall was the shooting experience on this was a little bit unique. It was not something that I felt before. You know, because this barrel does not tilt upward and it basically runs pretty horizontal with the lower, you know, I was expecting little muzzle rise, and I have to say there is not much muzzle rise with this firearm. However, one of the things that I did notice was that most of the impact, that's kind of not the good word to use, but most of that recoil that I was feeling wasn't really a muzzle flip where it would make your wrist move up and down. It actually felt like it was pushing into my hand, and it was actually being, I guess, relayed just to my wrist. Now, there are some firearms that you shoot and you can feel it going all the way up your forearm into your bicep area. Sometimes you can feel it in both arms. This gun I felt especially kind of, and it wasn't harsh. It's just an interesting feel because when you're shooting the gun, you really do feel like it's in your wrist more than anything else, but it's not causing your wrist to rock up. It's causing your wrist to kind of come back, almost like shooting a 45. But I guess that's because of that really low bore axis on here. And it is low, man. It is super comfortable. This is probably the least recoiling pistol I've ever shot in regards to striker-fired polymer handguns or semi-polymer. At the same time, I think honestly that if I was going to compare recoil to this, it's got to be in the same ballpark as a Steyr, probably P10C, that type of stuff. But it is such a smooth shooting firearm. I mean, I just can't believe how good this gun is. So I do want to show you also some video of the range. So we'll get into that in a second. I do also want to talk about this little checkering or stippling or texturing, whatever you want to call it, on the grip. Did I feel like it did anything more or anything better or like not as good as other guns? Not really. It's a pretty good feel for me. I didn't feel like this gun was losing any kind of traction on my hand. It is, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but you definitely feel it grinding into your skin, especially back here. Now, is it something that you're going to go, ow, my hand hurts? Well, if you do, then, you know, guys, come on, don't shoot guns anymore. But honestly, you're not going to feel it. I think it's really going to be something that you can adjust to very quickly and really not pay much attention to. Hand positioning was very, very comfortable, very natural. I really feel like the position of your support hand goes really, really nicely. I didn't really feel like I was really pushing down much into this area here where this is it, this little pad right here. I really felt like I was using more of the pin as a little bit more of like a lever for my thumb, which is kind of interesting. And once I started getting more comfortable with it, I started riding extremely high, almost right by the slide. I could actually feel the slide reciprocating on my thumb a little bit. But again, it wasn't uncomfortable. And again, that's why I also said something about the heat transfer, because as my thumb was up front here, I could definitely feel that, that heat transferring going on. Everything about this gun was great. The last thing I'll refer to is the trigger. The trigger I was a little suspect on. I didn't think it was the best trigger in the world. I still don't know if it's the best trigger in the world. I don't know. I don't think it's awesome. I think it's very good. Now, what I would say about this trigger is that after putting 250 rounds through it, it's not really sluggish, not really sticking. I don't really feel that grinding portion, because initially I did feel that and I had to oil in there and it went away. But after shooting the gun, the trigger is extremely responsive. And I just want to show you this take up. So there's your take up right there. That trigger is absolutely smooth, kind of gliding on ice now. So the trigger has made a really, really massive improvement from when I got it out of the box. The finish on it looks good. I mean, yeah, it's a little dirty, but that's okay. Dirty gun is a good gun. And I mean, overall, everything really performs solidly with this handgun. I can't complain. It is, guys, I'm going to tell you, this is the real deal. Now, whether or not Archon lives or if it fades away into oblivion, I don't know what's going to happen with this company. But for me, I feel like this was money well spent because I really like this damn gun. So let's take a look at some of that video from the shooting range, and then we'll close out. So stay tuned.
Ooh. The first one was a terrible round. Holy smokes. I'm blame the gun. Oh. And I just took a hot fucking... This thing just shot right behind my fucking glasses. That hurt. Ouch. That's what I'm seeing mostly. Really bad rounds popping back into my face. Not a low. Low. Shooting really low. Left and low, left and low. Jerking that trigger. Interesting. Alright. Shot 40 rounds. That was too low for my liking. Gun's starting to warm up. I put about, that's 50 in a row. This is 60 in a row. So the heat's becoming a little bit of an issue. Well, I'm really liking the left side of this target for some reason. Yeah. So tighten up a little bit on that next 20. Definitely begin to feel that heat. I'm feeling it actually right in the front, right in the lower portion of the front of this gun. Feeling that heat building up. Slide's getting pretty warm. Even front to back, it's getting warm. Trigger, interestingly enough, is not, but everything else is. All right, let's see if we can get a little bit more to the right of this target. Yeah, heat is definitely a problem. You feel it coming right through the frame. Now keep in mind, the likelihood of anybody shooting likelihood of anybody shooting 100 rounds in a row that quickly, it's probably unlikely, but definitely heat. You can feel that heat transfer. It's interesting. I don't know if it's because it's got that, I guess, a steel chassis in there somewhere, but you can definitely feel it transferring. In the front of that, the whole slide's getting super warm. Really, really hot. But the gun is flat. It shoots really nice. All right, let's continue. gun is very easy to shoot. Open it up a little bit, shoot a little bit faster. I'm going to take my time with this one. This gun's a shooter. It's absolutely a shooter. And it's a damn good gun. Holy cow. Super accurate. Little couple of bobbles of stupid things like ejection pattern stuff, heat transfer. But I mean, this gun's pretty damn accurate. Great gun.